Hey, Antioch family, it is so good to be with you in Life Group tonight. I hope you have been enjoying Life Group. I always enjoy it, so I hope you do too. But hey, we are still in this series of Hindsight is 2020, where we are thinking back and reflecting on what 2020 was to us and what we need to think about, what we need to reflect, what we need to process, what we need to grieve, all these different things. And so before we jump in tonight, I just want to remind you, hey, in 2 weeks, we've got our Easter service. I hope you are excited. Jesus is risen. It'll be a celebration. Psh, like that. That's all I can promise for now. But stay tuned. Watch social media. That way you know where and when Easter service will be. Get excited. It's coming. Well, Jesus already rose, so it's good. We're good. All right. So we want to jump in tonight. And what I want us to look at tonight in our Hindsight is 2020 is 2020 was a year of the unknown. That's right. We did not know what was happening most times. You would get comfortable and settled. And I was talking to Cami about this, but every time we would drop down a level, it would take our family about a week to 2 weeks to adjust to the new lockdown levels. Everything was out of sorts. We were all just constantly, what's going on? What's going to happen? I don't know. Do you know? When's church going to happen? I mean, so many times people are like, well, what's happening with church? And I'm like, well, what's happening with Cyril? Who knows? Guys, 2020 was a year of the unknown. And here's the deal about the unknown. The unknown is scary to a lot of people. Mystery bothers folks. That's why people read mystery novels. They are bothered until there's resolution. And if you and I don't get the resolution we're wanting, we stay unsettled in our spirits. And so what we have to do is we have to be able to walk through and process the unknown in a healthy way. Now, the good news is, looking at our main man, Jesus, he actually dwelt most of his life in the unknown. And I know what you're thinking. He's Jesus. He's God. He knows everything. In his spiritual realm, he did. But when he became a human, in John 1, when it says the word became flesh, he became all of the flesh that you and I have. Meaning, he didn't know what was going to happen in the future. He didn't know where his next meal would come from. He didn't know where he would sleep some nights. He literally was going through life, bouncing around, stumbling around like you and I in our humanity, wondering what's going to happen next. He didn't know. He knew what his goal was. He knew that unification with the Father was the end result, but how he got there on the journey, he wasn't aware. And I think that should bring us comfort that in his humanity, he was like you and I and was constantly wondering what's going to happen, where's it at? But he didn't fret, he didn't falter, and he didn't fall apart. Now, I want us to look at Psalm 46 today. So if you have your Bible, pull it out. If you have your phone, flip over to it. Not sharing, still social distancing and lockdown level we're in right now. But Psalm 46, we're going to look at verse 1. It says, God is our refuge and our strength, our ever-present help in trouble. Therefore, we will not fear, though the earth give way and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea, though its waters roar and foam and the mountains quake with their surging. Guys, God is our refuge despite the world literally falling apart around us. The unknowns of, are we going to get a vaccine? When do I get my vaccine? Is it going to address the South African variant? Is the economy going to reopen? Are they going to lock down borders? There are so many questions. And if we sit there and we focus on the questions, we will spiral out of control. The good news is we can always focus on the solution. And that's what we have to do. We have to focus on the solution. Well, what is our solution, Aaron? Our solution is that Jesus is who he says he is, that he's still in control, that God literally is our refuge. All right, so what do we do when we encounter the unknown? When anxiety rises up, I don't know, what about this? What about this? What about this? What do we do? Real simple, here's what we do. In verse 10 of Psalm 46, it tells us our first step. It says, be still and know that I'm God. I will be exalted among the nations, and I will be exalted in the earth. So our very first thing is to be still and remember that God is still in control. Guys, COVID never moved him 1 millimeter off his throne. He wasn't taken aback by it like you and I are. So we rest in the fact that God is who he says he is. The second thing we do, and this is very difficult for us, it's to rest in the tension of the mystery. Tension is healthy. You don't believe me? Lay in a hammock with no tension in it and see what happens to you. Tension can be a good thing. We must learn to rest in the tension of the mystery of the unknowns around us. And number 3, we've got to realize that we don't focus on problems, but we focus on the solution. And what is the solution? It's Jesus. Remember that old story back in the day where Jesus is asleep in the boat and all his disciples are in the middle of a storm and they freak out, and Jesus wakes up from his nap sleeping in the midst of a storm, not because he's trying to avoid it, but because he's so relaxed in the fact that he is the beginning and end of all things. And he gets up and he says, "Peace, be still." Guys, if you focus on the problems, if you focus on the questions and the unknowns, you will spiral. But instead, when you lock eyes with Jesus and know that the solution is sitting in the boat right next to you every moment. Man, we love you guys. What we're going to do now, what we've been doing, we're going to jump on into a small group discussion. We're going to break up, or however your life group leaders, and up on the screen is going to appear the things we're going to look through tonight. Love you guys. Can't wait to see you on Easter.